What would you do if you watched someone slowly poison your daughter's pregnancy? Not with chemicals, with words, with visits, with kindness that felt like knives. Margaret Bennett is a retired family court judge. She's seen every manipulation tactic, every abuse pattern, every lie wrapped in concern. But nothing prepared her for the phone call that changed everything. Her daughter Claire, 8 months pregnant, sobbing on the other end, and in the background, a voice, cold, amused, cruel. The mistress who destroyed Claire's marriage wasn't done. She wanted the baby gone too. Daily visits disguised as wellness checks, gifts laced with dangerous ingredients, a systematic campaign to cause a miscarriage. Margaret had two choices: watch her daughter break or fight back. What happened next shocked everyone. The plan was ruthless, the exposure was complete, and the world stood up and applauded. This is the true story of a mother's revenge. But revenge isn't always what you think it is. Stay until the end, because the truth is more powerful than any fiction. Are you always this dramatic, Claire? Or is it the hormones? The voice came through Margaret Bennett's phone speaker. Cold, amused, sharp as a blade wrapped in silk. Margaret had been watering her roses. The afternoon sun warmed her shoulders. The garden hose hung loose in her hand now. Water pooled around her feet, soaking into the grass. Mom? Her daughter's voice cracked through the speaker. Small, tight. Mom, I need you. That other voice continued in the background. Honestly, 8 months pregnant and still so emotional. Derek warned me you were high maintenance. Margaret's heart slammed against her ribs. She dropped the hose. Water sprayed across the roses, scattering petals. Claire, what's happening? Margaret said. Where are you? I'm at home. She just showed up. She won't leave and... A crash, glass shattering. Claire cried out. Then silence. Claire? Margaret pressed the phone to her ear. Claire, answer me. Nothing. Margaret ran for her car. Her hands shook as she unlocked the door. She tried calling back. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail. She called again. Lock screen, press, voicemail. Again. Lock screen, press, voicemail. Her fingers trembled on the steering wheel. She started the engine and pulled out of her driveway. Claire's house was 20 minutes away. Margaret drove faster than she should. The phone sat on the passenger seat. She kept glancing at it, waiting for it to light up, waiting for Claire to call back. Lock screen, no messages. Lock screen, no calls. Lock screen, nothing. Margaret's mind raced. That voice on the phone. She knew that voice. Vanessa Sterling, Derek's assistant. No, not assistant anymore. Derek's wife now, wife number 2. The woman who destroyed Claire's marriage while Claire was 6 months pregnant. Margaret gripped the steering wheel tighter. Her knuckles turned white. She ran a red light. A car honked. She didn't care. Claire's neighborhood appeared. Neat houses, manicured lawns. Claire's home sat at the end of the cul-de-sac. The house she'd bought with Derek. The house she was supposed to raise their baby in. A black Mercedes sat in the driveway. Vanessa's car. Margaret parked on the street. She walked quickly to the front door. Her heart pounded. She rang the doorbell. Once, twice, 3 times. Footsteps inside. The door opened. Claire stood there. Her face was blotchy, red. Tears streaked her cheeks. One hand pressed against her enormous belly. The other gripped the doorframe. Mom, Claire whispered. Margaret pushed inside. Where is she? Living room. Vanessa sat on Claire's couch, legs crossed, perfectly composed. She held a mug in her hands. Steam rose from it. Claire's herbal tea, Claire's favorite mug. The one Margaret had given her for her 30th birthday. Oh, Margaret. Vanessa's smile never reached her eyes. I was just leaving. Claire and I had a little chat about boundaries. You know how it is with first-time mothers. So territorial. Margaret stepped between Vanessa and her daughter. Get out of this house. Vanessa stood slowly. She set the mug down on the coffee table. No coaster. It would leave a ring. I'm going, Vanessa said. I just wanted to check on Claire. Derek worries about her, you know. All this stress can't be good for the baby. She walked to the door, paused, turned back to Claire. See you at the baby shower Saturday, Claire. I have the perfect gift. The way she said perfect made Margaret's blood run cold. The door closed. Vanessa's heels clicked down the walkway. The Mercedes started, pulled away. Margaret turned to Claire. Her daughter stood frozen, pale, shaking. "Sit down," Margaret said. "Now." Claire lowered herself onto the couch. She moved slowly, carefully, like every movement hurt. Margaret sat beside her. She took Claire's hand. "Tell me everything." "I can't do this anymore." Claire's voice broke. "I can't." "Start from the beginning. How long has this been happening?" 3 months, since Derek married her. She comes by every day, every single day. She says she's checking on me, making sure I'm healthy, but Mom, she's trying to. Claire stopped, pressed both hands to her belly, her face contorted. "Contraction?" Margaret asked. Claire nodded. She breathed through it, slow, deliberate, the way they taught in childbirth class. Margaret counted, 30 seconds. The contraction passed. Claire slumped back against the cushions. "How frequent are they?" Margaret asked. "This is the third one today. Dr. Reeves said to call if they get closer than 10 minutes apart." Margaret pulled out her phone. She dialed the doctor's office. "This is Margaret Bennett. I'm calling about my daughter, Claire Morrison. She's 32 weeks pregnant and having contractions." "Yes, third one today. No, not close together yet, but there's a significant stress factor we need to discuss. Can Dr. Reeves see her tomorrow morning?" She listened. 9 o'clock, we'll be there, thank you." Margaret ended the call. She looked at her daughter, really looked at her. Claire had lost weight. Her face looked gaunt. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Her hands trembled. "When did you last eat?" Margaret asked. "I don't know, this morning maybe?" "Claire, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. She brought cookies earlier, said she baked them special, but they smelled weird and I couldn't." Margaret stood. She walked to the kitchen, found the cookies on the counter, store-bought chocolate chip, arranged on a plate. She leaned down, sniffed them, coffee, strong coffee scent, and something else, something herbal and bitter. She covered the plate with plastic wrap, took a photo with her phone. Evidence. She'd learned that in 30 years on the bench. Always document everything. Margaret opened Claire's refrigerator, nearly empty, some yogurt, wilted lettuce, half a sandwich from 3 days ago. She closed the refrigerator, opened the pantry, crackers, pasta, nothing substantial. "I'm ordering food," Margaret said. "What do you want?" "I'm not hungry." "You're eating anyway. That's my grandchild in there and she needs nutrition." "She?" Claire's voice lifted slightly. "Call it grandmother's intuition. Now, Thai or Italian?" "Thai, but nothing spicy," Margaret ordered through her phone. "Pad Thai, spring rolls, mango sticky rice, enough for 3 meals." She came back to the living room, sat beside Claire, took her hand again. "I need you to tell me everything," Margaret said. "Every visit, every comment, every single thing she's done." Claire took a shaky breath. "You're going to think I'm crazy." "I'm not crazy. I know what I saw." The words came out fierce, strong. Claire sat up straighter. "I know what she's doing. She wants me to lose this baby." Margaret felt something shift in her chest, a judge's instinct, the same instinct that had served her for 3 decades on the family court bench. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't pregnancy hormones. This was real. "Tell me," Margaret said. "Start at the beginning." The doorbell rang. Margaret paid the delivery driver, brought the food to the kitchen. She made Claire a plate, watched her daughter eat slowly, mechanically. Claire talked between bites. "It started 3 weeks after the wedding. Their wedding. Derek married her at the courthouse. No ceremony, no guests, just the two of them." Margaret's jaw tightened. She hadn't known. Derek hadn't told her. Neither had Claire. "He called me the next day," Claire continued. "Said I needed to accept Vanessa as part of our child's life. Said we needed to co-parent peacefully. For the baby's sake." "Go on," Margaret said. "Vanessa showed up that afternoon. Said she wanted to help. Said she knew pregnancy was hard. She brought me prenatal vitamins. Organic ones. Expensive. Said Derek wanted to make sure I was taking care of myself." Claire pushed food around her plate. I thought maybe she was trying to make peace. I wanted to believe that. For the baby, so I said thank you. What happened next? She started coming every day, always around 2 in the afternoon, always staying exactly 30 minutes, never longer, never shorter, like she had it timed. Margaret recognized the pattern: control, domination, psychological warfare dressed up as kindness. At first, she just talked, asked about my day, my appointments, how I was feeling, normal stuff. But then the comments started. What kind of comments? Little things like, you look tired, are you sleeping? Sleep deprivation is so bad for the baby. Or you should really be eating more protein. The baby's brain development depends on it. Claire set down her fork. Every comment was about the baby, about how my choices affected the baby, about how I wasn't doing enough, wasn't being careful enough, wasn't... Her voice cracked. Margaret squeezed her hand. She'd mentioned Derek, how late he worked, how stressed he was, how he came home exhausted. She never said it directly, but the implication was clear. I was the problem. I was stressing him out, making his life difficult. Margaret felt rage building in her chest, cold, precise, dangerous. Then she started bringing things, supplements, teas, healthy snacks, always with a lecture about nutrition, about stress, about how important it was for me to stay calm. But you weren't calm, Margaret said. How could I be? Claire's eyes filled with tears. My husband left me for her, divorced me while I was pregnant, married her, and now she's in my house every day telling me how to take care of my baby. His baby. Our baby. A contraction hit. Claire gasped, pressed her hands to her belly. Margaret counted again. 45 seconds this time. Longer than before. When it passed, Claire slumped back, exhausted. Last week, she brought cookies, said she'd baked them herself, but they smelled like coffee. Strong coffee. I know pregnant women are supposed to limit caffeine. I asked if there was coffee in them. She laughed, said, just a little espresso. It's fine, I researched it. Margaret made a note in her phone. Document everything. I didn't eat them. She got upset, said I was being difficult, said Derek told her I was stubborn, said maybe that's why he... Claire stopped, looked away. Said maybe that's why he left, she finished quietly. Margaret stood, walked to the window, looked out at the quiet suburban street. Nice houses, nice cars, nice families. Nothing nice about what was happening here. Today, Margaret said. What happened today? She came at 2, like always, but this time she brought photos from their honeymoon. She said she wanted to share them, wanted me to see how happy they were. She showed you honeymoon photos. Not just showed me, made me look at every single one. 37 photos. I counted. Derek on the beach, Derek at dinner, Derek laughing, Derek holding her, and she narrated each one. This is where we went snorkeling. Derek was so relaxed. I've never seen him this happy. He said he finally felt free. Margaret turned back to face her daughter. Claire's face was wet with tears. That's when I called you. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't sit there and smile and pretend. I asked her to leave. She refused, said I was being hormonal, said I was proving Derek's point about how unstable I am. Did she threaten you? Not directly, she never does. She just says things like, I hope you're being careful with your stress levels. Stress can cause premature labor. That would be terrible. Or, Derek and I worry about you being alone with the baby. What if something happens? Claire's voice dropped to a whisper. Mom, she wants me to lose this baby, or to prove I'm unfit, or both. I'm not imagining it. I'm not crazy. Margaret crossed the room, knelt in front of her daughter, took both her hands. You're not crazy, Margaret said firmly. I believe you, every word. Claire's face crumpled. She leaned forward, sobbed into Margaret's shoulder. Margaret held her, stroked her hair, let her cry. I'm so scared, Claire whispered. I'm so tired and scared and alone. You're not alone anymore, Margaret said. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. They sat like that for a long time, mother and daughter, grandmother and grandchild. 3 generations connected. Margaret's hand rested on Claire's belly. She felt the baby kick. Strong, determined, a fighter. "She's going to be okay," Margaret said. "I promise you." "How do you know it's a girl?" Margaret smiled. "Because she kicks like I did. And you did. Bennett women were fighters." Claire laughed through her tears. "I forgot how to fight." "Then I'll teach you again." Margaret stayed the night. She slept on Claire's couch. Woke at 6 in the morning. Made coffee for herself. Herbal tea for Claire. They sat at the kitchen table. Morning light filtered through the windows. Soft, peaceful, deceptive. "I need to understand the timeline," Margaret said. "When did Derek meet Vanessa?" Claire wrapped her hands around her mug. 3 years ago, she was his new assistant, 26 years old, fresh MBA, ambitious. He said she was brilliant, said she made his life easier. When did the affair start? 2 years ago, I think. I didn't find out until 6 months ago. I was 6 months pregnant when I found out. Margaret did the math. So the affair lasted more than a year before you discovered it. Claire nodded. "I found texts on his phone. He'd left it charging in the kitchen. A message came through. Missing you already. Last night was perfect. At 10 in the morning. What did you do?" I confronted him. He denied it at first. Said she was just a friend, said I was reading too much into it. Then I scrolled further, found more messages. Hundreds of them, going back 18 months. Claire's hands trembled. Tea sloshed in her mug. She set it down. There were photos. Them at restaurants, hotels. His business trips weren't business trips. They were weekend getaways with her. Margaret remembered. Claire had mentioned Derek traveling more. For work, she'd said. Margaret had believed it. "I told him to end it. Go to marriage counseling with me. We had a baby coming. We could fix this. I wanted to fix this." "What did he say?" "He said no. Said he'd been unhappy for years. Said he'd been planning to leave, but then I got pregnant. Said he stayed out of obligation, but he couldn't do it anymore. He loved her. Not me." The words came out flat, rehearsed, like Claire had repeated them to herself 1,000 times. "He moved out that night, filed for divorce the next week. I was 6 months pregnant. We'd been married 8 years, and in one day it was over." Margaret stood, paced the kitchen. She'd presided over hundreds of divorces, seen the pattern, affairs, betrayal, broken families. But this was her daughter, her grandchild. The divorce was quick, no fault. I didn't fight it. I was too tired, too pregnant, too broken. He gave me the house, child support, half our savings, and his freedom. When did he marry Vanessa? 3 months later, 3 weeks ago, I found out from a Facebook post, one of his friends congratulating them. Margaret stopped pacing. "He didn't tell you?" "No, why would he? I'm just the ex-wife. The pregnant ex-wife who ruined his happiness." Bitterness dripped from every word. Margaret didn't blame her. "Tell me about the baby shower invitation." Claire stood slowly, walked to the living room, brought back an envelope. Cream-colored, expensive paper, elegant script. Margaret opened it, read the invitation inside. "You're invited to celebrate baby Morrison, hosted by Vanessa and Derek Morrison. Saturday, October 28th, 2 in the afternoon at their home." Their home, not Derek's home. Their home. Margaret looked at the address. She recognized it. Claire's old house, the house Claire had decorated, the nursery Claire had painted, the home where Claire had planned to bring her baby. "She's hosting a baby shower. For your baby, at your old house." "She redecorated," Claire said, "changed everything. New furniture, new paint, new everything, like I never existed there." Margaret read further. "Please RSVP to Vanessa. No gifts necessary. Your presence is present enough." "Your presence is present enough," Margaret repeated. "She thinks she's clever. Look at the guest list." Margaret flipped the card over. 30 names, Claire's friends, former colleagues, neighbors, women from her prenatal yoga class. Even Margaret's name was there. "She invited everyone from my life, everyone I know, to a party at my old house to celebrate my baby. And she's the hostess." Claire's voice rose. "She's taking everything, my husband, my house, my friends. My baby shower. She wants my baby too. I know she does. She wants to erase me completely. Another contraction hit, stronger this time. Claire gripped the table, breathed through it. 60 seconds. When it passed, she was pale, shaking. That's 4 contractions since yesterday, Margaret said. We're going to see Dr. Reeves now. Dr. Ellen Reeves had been Claire's obstetrician for 7 months. Calm, competent, thorough, she examined Claire carefully, checked the baby's heartbeat, measured Claire's belly, asked questions. The contractions aren't labor yet, Dr. Reeves said, but they're stress-induced. Your blood pressure is elevated, you've lost weight. When was your last full night's sleep? Claire looked at her hands. I don't remember. Dr. Reeves sat down, rolled her chair closer. Claire, I need you to be honest with me. What's causing this stress? Claire told her. Everything. Vanessa's daily visits, the comments, the gifts, the cookies, the photos, the baby shower. Dr. Reeves listened without interrupting. When Claire finished, the doctor turned to Margaret. Are you aware of all this? Dr. Reeves asked. As of yesterday, Margaret said. I'm going to document this in Claire's medical file. This level of psychological stress is dangerous. It can trigger premature labor. It's affecting both Claire's health and the baby's. Dr. Reeves wrote notes in her tablet. Her face was serious. I'm also filing a report with the hospital's ethics board. This pattern of behavior from an outside party constitutes a form of harassment that's medically relevant. As a mandatory reporter, I have an obligation to document potential abuse. Claire's head snapped up. Abuse? Psychological abuse, yes. This woman is systematically causing you stress with the apparent goal of harming your pregnancy. That's abuse. Margaret felt something settle in her chest. Validation. From a medical professional. Documentation. Evidence. What can we do? Margaret asked. Short term, Claire needs to avoid contact with this woman completely. No visits, no phone calls, no texts, complete separation. What if she shows up? Claire asked. Don't answer the door. If she refuses to leave, call the police. I'll provide documentation that contact with her is medically contraindicated. DeVries Reeves printed papers, handed them to Claire, official letterhead, medical recommendations, evidence. Long-term, you need legal intervention, a restraining order, custody arrangements that prohibit her presence. This needs to stop. Today. They left the doctor's office with prescriptions, magnesium for the contractions, sleeping pills, anxiety medication, and medical documentation that contact with Vanessa Sterling Morrison was harmful to Claire's pregnancy. In the car, Claire was quiet. She stared out of the window. Mom, she said finally. Yes? Thank you for believing me. Margaret reached over, squeezed her daughter's hand. Always. That night, Margaret sat in her home office, the room that had been her late husband's study. She'd barely touched it since he died 3 years ago. His law books still lined the shelves. His desk still held his things. She sat in his chair, opened her laptop, started making lists. Things she knew, things she needed to know, people she could call, evidence she needed. Her phone rang. Patricia Holbrook. Trish, Margaret's best friend for 30 years, investigative journalist, truth teller, sometimes painfully honest. I got your message, Trish said. What's going on? Margaret told her. Everything. Claire, Derek, Vanessa, the cookies, the photos, the baby shower, Dr. Reeves's report. Trish listened in silence. When Margaret finished, Trish swore, colorfully. I need background on Vanessa Sterling, Margaret said. Employment history, past relationships, legal records, social media going back 5 years. Everything you can find. How fast do you need it? Yesterday? I'll start tonight. Maggie, this sounds bad. It is bad. What are you planning? Margaret looked at the photograph on her husband's desk. Him holding baby Claire. 32 years ago. The same fierce, protective look she felt now. I'm going to protect my daughter, Margaret said, and my grandchild, whatever it takes. Be careful, Trish said. Women like Vanessa are dangerous. So am I, Margaret replied. She ended the call, Went back to her lists, made notes, drew connections, planned. She'd spent 30 years as a family court judge, 30 years seeing patterns of abuse, manipulation, control, psychological warfare. She knew the law, she knew the system, she knew exactly how to build a case, and she was going to build one against Vanessa Sterling, methodically, carefully, thoroughly, starting now. Margaret woke at 5 in the morning, showered, dressed, made coffee, sat down with her laptop and phone. First call, Grace Harrison, Claire's former colleague, best friend before Derek isolated her. Mrs. Bennett? Grace sounded surprised. Is Claire okay? No, Margaret said, she's not, and I need your help. She explained the situation. Grace listened, then sighed heavily. I tried to stay in touch, Grace said, after the separation. But Derek told everyone Claire wanted space, said she was having a difficult pregnancy and needed privacy. I believed him. I feel terrible now. Don't, Margaret said. That's what he wanted. Isolation. It's a classic abuse tactic. What do you need from me? I need you to reconnect with Claire. She needs her support system back. And I need you to help me reach her other friends, quietly, one by one. Consider it done, Grace said. I'll start today. Second call, Stuart Morrison, Derek's father. This was riskier, but necessary. Stuart answered on the third ring. Margaret, this is unexpected. They'd met a handful of times, weddings, holidays. He was old money, careful, conservative, image conscious. Stuart, I need to speak with you about Claire and Derek and Vanessa. Silence, then, I'm listening. Margaret laid it out, factually, calmly, no emotion, just evidence, the medical documentation, the pattern of behavior, the systematic psychological abuse. More silence. I didn't know, Stuart said finally. Derek told us Claire was struggling with the pregnancy, that she was emotional, unstable. He said Vanessa was trying to help. That's what he was told to say. By Vanessa. Yes, Stuart exhaled. I don't know what you want me to do, Margaret. I want you to look at your grandchild's medical records. I'm sending them to you. Read them. Then ask yourself if this is the kind of woman you want around your family. I'll look at them, Stuart said. But Margaret, Derek is my son, and Claire is my daughter, and that baby is both our grandchild. She ended the call, sent the medical files, moved on. Third call, Trish. Tell me you have something, Margaret said. Oh, I have something. You're going to want to sit down. Margaret was already sitting. Go ahead. Vanessa Sterling, age 29, MBA from Columbia, impressive resume, multiple jobs as executive assistant to wealthy men, and a pattern. What kind of pattern? 2 previous long-term relationships, both with married men, both while she was their assistant. Both men divorced their wives and married Vanessa within 6 months. Margaret wrote this down. Go on. First marriage lasted 8 months, ended in divorce. The ex-wife filed a harassment complaint against Vanessa. It was dropped, settled out of court with an endo. And the second? Second marriage lasted 18 months, also ended in divorce. But here's where it gets interesting. The first wife from that relationship had a miscarriage during the affair. Hospital records note unusual stress factors. Margaret's blood ran cold. Send me everything. Already did. Check your email. Maggie, this woman has done this before. She targets married men, gets rid of the wife, then gets rid of the wife's pregnancy or children, then moves on to the next target. How did you find all this? Public records, court filings, hospital reports. It's all legal, and it's all documented. She's been leaving a trail for 10 years. Margaret opened her email, downloaded the files, hundreds of pages, evidence, patterns, proof. Thank you, Margaret said. What are you going to do with this? Trish asked. I don't know yet, but I'm going to do something. That afternoon, Vanessa showed up at Claire's house. 2 o'clock, like clockwork. But Margaret was there. She'd spent the morning with Claire, making sure she ate, making sure she rested, making sure she felt safe. The doorbell rang. Claire tensed. Don't answer it, Margaret said. She'll just keep ringing. Let her. The doorbell rang again, and again, then knocking, loud, persistent. Margaret walked to the door, opened it, stepped outside, closed the door behind her. Vanessa stood on the porch, perfectly styled, designer clothes, expensive handbag, bright smile. Margaret, how nice. Is Claire home? Claire is resting, under doctor's orders. She's not receiving visitors. I'm not a visitor, I'm family. You're not family, you're her ex-husband's new wife. There's a difference. Vanessa's smile tightened. Derek asked me to check on her. He's concerned. Derek can call like a normal co-parent, through appropriate channels, not through you. I don't think you understand the situation. I understand perfectly, Margaret said. You've been systematically harassing my pregnant daughter for 3 months. You've been causing her stress that's leading to contractions. You've been bringing her food and drinks with contraindicated ingredients, and it's going to stop now. Vanessa blinked, the smile faltered, then returned, harder. That's quite an accusation. It's not an accusation, it's documentation, medical documentation. From Dr. Reeves, who has filed a formal report noting that contact with you is causing harm to Claire's pregnancy. Margaret handed Vanessa a folder. This is a copy of that report, along with a formal request that you cease all contact with Claire. No visits, no calls, no texts, no communication of any kind. Vanessa took the folder, flipped through it. Her face remained calm, but her eyes were cold. You can't keep me from Derek's child. I'm not. Derek can see his child, through appropriate legal arrangements. You are not part of those arrangements. Claire has sole custody until the baby is born. After that, Derek can petition for visitation. His visitation, not yours. We'll see what Derek has to say about this. I'm sure we will, but until then, you're not welcome here. If you return, Claire has been advised to call the police. This conversation constitutes a formal warning. Do you understand? Vanessa's mask slipped, just for a moment. Pure rage flashed across her face. Then she smiled again. You're making a mistake, Margaret. No, you made the mistake. You targeted the wrong family. Vanessa turned, walked to her car, got in, drove away. Margaret stood on the porch, watched until the Mercedes disappeared. Then she went inside. Claire sat on the couch, pale, shaking. Is she gone? Claire asked. She's gone, and she's not coming back. How do you know? Because I told her the truth, and the truth has consequences. Margaret sat beside her daughter. She's going to escalate. That's what people like her do when they lose control. We need to be ready. What do you mean, escalate? I don't know yet, but whatever it is, we'll handle it. Together. That night, Margaret couldn't sleep. She lay awake in Claire's guest room, thinking, planning, worrying. At 2 a.m, she heard sounds from the kitchen. She got up, found Claire reorganizing the kitchen drawers. Utensils in one drawer, measuring cups in another, pot holders, dish towels, everything sorted, organized. Perfect. Can't sleep? Margaret asked. Claire jumped. I didn't mean to wake you. You didn't. What are you doing? I don't know, I just needed to do something. When everything feels out of control, I organize. It makes me feel better. Margaret understood. She did the same thing. Different methods, same impulse. Control something. Anything. Come sit with me, Margaret said. They sat at the kitchen table. Margaret made tea. They drank in silence for a while. Mom, Claire said finally. Yes? Do you really think we can stop her? Margaret looked at her daughter, saw the doubt, the fear, the exhaustion. I know we can, Margaret said, because I've spent 30 years dealing with people like Vanessa. I know how they work, I know their patterns, and I know how to fight them. How? With truth, with documentation, with the law. Not with emotion, not with anger, with cold, hard facts. Claire wrapped her hands around her mug. I'm scared. I know, but you're not alone, and you're stronger than you think. You've survived 6 months of this. You're still standing, still protecting your baby. That's strength. I don't feel strong. Strength isn't about feeling strong. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you're terrified. You've been doing that for months. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I deserved better than this. Yes, you did. You deserved loyalty, honesty, a partner who stood by you. Derek failed you. That's on him, not on you. Sometimes I wonder if I did something wrong, if I wasn't enough. If that's why he— Stop. Margaret's voice was firm. You did nothing wrong. Derek made a choice. A selfish, cruel choice. And now he's enabling another woman to harm you. That's not your fault. That's his character. Or lack of it. Claire cried. Margaret held her. Let her release months of suppressed emotion. Grief, anger, pain. All of it. When Claire finally stopped, she was exhausted. Margaret helped her to bed, tucked her in like she was 5 years old again. Sleep, Margaret said. I'll keep watch. You don't have to. Yes, I do. That's what mothers do. Margaret went back to the kitchen, finished organizing the drawers, each utensil in its place. Order from chaos. Then she sat down with her laptop, opened the files Trish had sent, read every page, made notes, built connections. By dawn, she had a plan. Saturday morning, the day of the baby shower, Claire stood in her bedroom, staring at her reflection. 8 months pregnant, exhausted, scared. I don't have to go, Margaret said. Yes, I do. If I don't go, she wins. She gets to tell everyone I'm unstable, that I'm refusing to co-parent, that I'm the problem. You don't owe anyone an explanation. But I do. Those are my friends, my colleagues. She invited them to my baby shower without asking me. At my old house, I have to go. I have to show them I'm okay. Margaret helped Claire get dressed, a soft blue maternity dress, comfortable shoes, minimal makeup to hide the dark circles. They drove to the house, Claire's old house. Margaret could see her daughter's hands trembling. We stay 1 hour, Margaret said. That's it. We make an appearance. We're polite. We leave. What if she does anything at all, we leave immediately. You are not required to endure abuse for the sake of appearances. They walked to the door, rang the bell. Vanessa answered. Perfect smile, perfect outfit, perfect hostess. Claire, Margaret, so glad you could make it. Everyone's in the backyard. The house was transformed. New paint, new furniture, new everything. Every trace of Claire erased. The backyard was decorated with pink and blue balloons, tables with pink tablecloths, a banner that read, Welcome Baby Morrison. 20 women turned to look at them, Claire's friends, her former life. Grace was there. She rushed over, hugged Claire carefully. I'm so glad you came, Grace whispered. We need to talk later. Other women approached, congratulated Claire, asked about her due date, normal baby shower questions. But Vanessa orchestrated everything. She directed where people sat, what games they played, what food they ate. Let's play a game, Vanessa announced. Everyone share your best pregnancy advice for Claire. One by one, women shared, but Margaret noticed something. They were all saying the same things, like they'd been coached. Stay calm. Stress is bad for the baby. Don't be so sensitive. Hormones make everything seem worse than it is. Think about what's best for the baby, not what's best for you. Co-parent peacefully. Don't let your feelings get in the way. Each piece of advice was a criticism, a condemnation. Claire sat there, smile frozen, nodding, thanking them. Margaret watched Vanessa, saw the satisfaction in her eyes. This was planned, orchestrated, another attack disguised as kindness. After 30 minutes, Claire stood abruptly. I need to use the restroom. She walked inside. Margaret followed. They found Claire in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet, organizing her purse, lipstick, wallet, keys, phone, tissues, everything in perfect order. I can't do this, Claire whispered. I can't sit there and smile and pretend. Then we leave. Right now. But everyone will think, I don't care what they think. Your health matters more than their opinions. They went back outside. Margaret approached Vanessa. We're leaving. Claire needs to rest. Vanessa's smile was sharp. Already? But we haven't even opened gifts yet. Send them to Claire's house. I thought this was the perfect opportunity for Claire to reconnect with everyone. She's been so isolated lately. Margaret leaned closer, kept her voice low. We both know why she's been isolated, and we both know this shower isn't about celebrating her baby. It's about humiliating her. It ends now. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do, and so will everyone else soon enough. They left. Claire cried in the car. Margaret drove her home, helped her inside, made her lie down. I'm sorry, Claire said. I'm sorry I'm so weak. You're not weak. You're in survival mode. There's a difference. Margaret's phone buzzed. Text from Trish. Call me. Now it's urgent. Margaret stepped outside, called. I found something, Trish said. Something big. Vanessa's first divorce. The harassment complaint from the ex-wife. I found the sealed court documents. How? Don't ask. But Maggie, you need to see this. The first wife accused Vanessa of doing exactly what she's doing to Claire. Daily visits, stress-inducing comments, gifts with harmful ingredients. It's the same pattern. Word for word. Send me everything. Already did. And Maggie, there's more. The second marriage, the one where the first wife had a miscarriage. I found hospital records. The attending physician noted unusual stress factors, multiple visits from the new wife, harassment, psychological abuse. Margaret felt her anger crystallize into something colder, more dangerous. She's done this before, Margaret said, multiple times, and she's gotten away with it every time. NDA settlements, sealed records, money silencing victims. Not this time, Margaret said. What are you going to do? I'm going to expose her, publicly, completely, every pattern, every victim, every lie. That's going to make her very angry. Good. Angry people make mistakes. Margaret ended the call, went back inside. Claire was asleep, exhausted from the ordeal. Margaret sat in the living room, opened her laptop, started writing a timeline, every incident, every visit, every comment, every gift, all documented, all dated, all corroborated with medical records. Then she added Trish's research, the other marriages, the other victims, the patterns stretching back 10 years. By evening, she had 50 pages, a complete case file, evidence, proof, truth. She sent it to Stuart Morrison, to her lawyer friends, to Child Protective Services, to everyone who needed to know. Then she made one more call, Derek's number. He answered on the second ring. Margaret? Derek, we need to talk about your wife and what she's been doing to Claire. Vanessa told me you've been making accusations. She said you're trying to turn everyone against her. I'm not making accusations. I'm presenting facts, medical facts, legal facts, historical facts. Your wife has done this before, multiple times, and she's doing it again to Claire. That's insane. Vanessa has been trying to help Claire. No, she's been trying to cause a miscarriage. Read the medical records I'm sending you. Read the hospital reports from her previous relationships. Read the sealed court documents. Then tell me I'm wrong. Silence. Derek, I don't care about your marriage. I don't care about your choices. But I care about my daughter and my grandchild. And if you have any decency left, you'll care too. She ended the call, sent him the files. Then she waited. Sunday morning. Margaret's phone rang. Stuart Morrison. I read the files, Stuart said. His voice was tight, controlled. All of them. And I need to speak with Derek today. Can you and Claire be there? Why? Because this needs to be addressed as a family before it gets worse. They met at Stuart's house. Large, expensive, formal, old money decorating. Stuart sat in his study. Derek stood by the window. Vanessa sat on the couch. Perfect posture, perfect composure. Margaret and Claire arrived last. Claire's hand shook in Margaret's. Thank you all for coming, Stuart said. We need to discuss some concerning information that's come to light. Derek turned from the window. Dad, I don't know what Margaret told you, but I told him the truth, Margaret interrupted, with documentation, medical records, legal records, historical patterns, everything. Vanessa's smile was ice. This is harassment. You're trying to turn Derek's family against me. I'm presenting facts, Margaret said. Would you like me to start with your first marriage? Or your second? Or should we begin with what you've been doing to Claire for the past 3 months? I've been trying to help Claire. She's having a difficult pregnancy. I wanted to support her. By bringing her food with contraindicated ingredients, by showing her your honeymoon photos, by hosting a baby shower designed to humiliate her. Derek stepped forward. Vanessa would never— Derek, Stuart's voice cut through, sharp, authoritative. Sit down and listen. Derek sat. Stuart opened a folder. These are medical records from Claire's obstetrician. They document a pattern of stress-related pregnancy complications. Every incident corresponds with a visit from Vanessa. He pulled out more papers. These are hospital records from Vanessa's second marriage. The first wife of that marriage had a miscarriage. The attending physician noted unusual stress factors, including repeated visits and harassment from the new wife. That's Vanessa. Vanessa's face remained calm, but her hands clenched. These are sealed court documents from Vanessa's first divorce. The ex-wife filed a harassment complaint, accused Vanessa of systematic psychological abuse. The case was settled with an NDA and financial payout. Stuart looked at his son. Derek, this is a pattern. She's done this before, multiple times, and she's doing it to Claire, to your child. That's not true, Vanessa said. Her voice was still controlled, still perfect. Those women were unstable. They couldn't handle their husbands moving on. They made false accusations. All of them, Margaret asked. 3 different women, 3 different marriages, 3 sets of sealed records. All lying. People lie when they're hurt. Medical records don't lie. Hospital reports don't lie. Doctors don't lie. Derek turned to Vanessa. Is this true? Did you do these things? Of course not. They're twisting everything, making me look bad. Then explain the cookies, Margaret said. The ones you brought Claire with high caffeine and contraindicated herbs. We had them tested. Want to see the lab results? Vanessa's composure cracked, just slightly. I didn't know those ingredients were harmful. I researched pregnancy-safe recipes. You have an MBA. You're intelligent, detail-oriented. You didn't know coffee was bad for pregnancy? I made a mistake. One mistake? Or a pattern of mistakes specifically designed to cause problems? Stuart stood. Vanessa, I think you should leave. Derek and I need to speak privately. I'm Derek's wife. I'm part of this family. Leave now. Vanessa looked at Derek, waiting for him to defend her. He sat silent, staring at the papers, at the evidence. She stood, grabbed her purse, walked to the door, paused. You'll regret this, she said. Not to Derek, to Margaret. No, Margaret replied. You will. Vanessa left. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Derek looked up. His face was pale. How much of this is true? All of it, Stuart said. I verified everything. The records are real. The pattern is clear. Your wife has been systematically abusing Claire, with the goal of causing harm to her pregnancy. But why? Why would she do that? Because Claire's baby threatens her position, Margaret said. As long as Claire has Derek's child, Claire remains part of Derek's life. Vanessa wants you completely. No reminders of your previous marriage, no ex-wife, no child connecting you to that life. Derek's hands shook. I didn't know. I thought she was trying to help. She said Claire was being difficult, refusing to cooperate, acting unstable. That's what abusers do, Stuart said. They isolate their victims, turn everyone against them, make the victim look crazy so no one believes them when they ask for help. Derek looked at Claire, really looked at her. She sat small, fragile, one hand on her pregnant belly. Claire, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I should have listened. I should have protected you. You should have, Claire said quietly, but you chose her instead. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake. Can you forgive me? I don't know, maybe someday, but not today. That evening, Margaret drove Claire home. They were both exhausted. What happens now? Claire asked. Now Derek has a choice, stand with Vanessa or protect his child. What if he chooses her? Then we proceed without him. We have custody, We have documentation. We have the law on our side. Claire was quiet for a moment. Mom, thank you for believing me, for fighting for me. You never have to thank me for that. That's what mothers do. They arrived at Claire's house. Margaret helped her inside, made sure she ate, made sure she took her medications, made sure she felt safe. At midnight, Margaret sat in the guest room. Her phone buzzed. Email from Derek. I've asked Vanessa for a separation. She's moving out tomorrow. I need time to process everything. I want to be part of my child's life, if you'll let me. I understand if you don't. I failed Claire. I failed our baby. I'm sorry. Margaret forwarded the email to Claire. Didn't add commentary. Claire could make her own decisions. Another email from Trish. I'm writing the article. Everything we found, all the patterns, all the victims, with their permission. This goes public in 3 days. Are you ready? Margaret wrote back. Yes, publish it. Monday morning, Margaret woke to her phone ringing. Claire's number. Panicked voice. Mom, something's wrong. I got a call from Child Protective Services. They're sending someone to my house today to evaluate me. Vanessa filed a report. She said I'm having psychotic episodes, that I might harm the baby. I'm coming over. Don't talk to anyone until I get there. Margaret drove faster than she should, arrived at Claire's house 30 minutes later. A CPS caseworker was already there. Young woman. Clipboard. Official badge. Are you Claire Morrison? The caseworker asked. I'm her mother, Margaret Bennett. I'm a retired family court judge. Before you proceed, I need to clarify some things. The caseworker paused. You're Judge Bennett? I was, yes. Recognition, respect, the advantage of 30 years on the bench. Someone filed a report alleging that Ms. Morrison is experiencing mental health issues that could endanger her unborn child. I'm here to investigate. That report was filed by Vanessa Sterling Morrison, my daughter's ex-husband's current wife, the same woman who's been systematically harassing my daughter for 3 months, the same woman whose harassment is documented in medical records as causing pregnancy complications. Margaret handed over papers. This is documentation from Dr. Ellen Reeves, Claire's obstetrician. It details the abuse. It identifies Vanessa as the source of the stress. It includes a formal recommendation that all contact with Vanessa cease immediately. The caseworker read. Her expression changed. This is a mandatory reporter filing from a physician, identifying psychological abuse. Yes. Now, do you still need to evaluate my daughter, or can we agree that this CPS report is retaliatory harassment? The caseworker looked at Claire, at her pregnant belly, at her exhausted face. I still need to complete an evaluation, but based on this documentation, I'm treating this as a false report investigation, which means the person who filed it could face consequences for misusing the system. She interviewed Claire, asked questions, checked the house, verified that Claire had food, medications, prenatal care, support system. After an hour, she closed her folder. I'm filing this as unfounded. There's no evidence of mental health issues or risk to the child. In fact, all evidence suggests you're taking excellent care of yourself and your baby despite significant external stressors. What happens to the person who filed the false report? Margaret asked. I forward my findings to the investigative unit. They determine if charges are appropriate, but between you and me, this looks like harassment, and we take that seriously. The caseworker left. Claire collapsed on the couch, shaking. She tried to take my baby before she's even born. She tried to prove I'm unfit so Derek could get custody, so she could raise my daughter. And she failed because there's documentation, evidence, truth. Margaret's phone rang. Trish. The article publishes in 2 hours. I wanted to give you warning. It's going to be big. Front page of the website. Full investigative feature. I interviewed 2 of Vanessa's previous victims. They agreed to go on record. Thank you. Maggie, once this publishes, there's no going back. Are you ready for the fallout? Yes. 2 hours later, the article went live. The Mistress Who Wanted a Baby, Just Not Her Husband's First One. By Trish Holbrook. The story detailed everything. Vanessa's pattern, 3 marriages, 3 ex-wives, 3 cases of systematic harassment, hospital records, court documents, medical testimony, and at the center, Claire's story. A pregnant woman targeted by her ex-husband's new wife. Daily harassment disguised as kindness. Psychological warfare aimed at causing a miscarriage. Within an hour, the article had 10,000 shares. Within 2 hours, 20,000. By evening, it was viral. Comments flooded in, women sharing their own stories. Similar patterns, different abusers, same tactics. Isolation, gaslighting, stress, psychological torture. News outlets picked it up. Local stations requested interviews. National media called. Margaret's phone didn't stop ringing. Derek called. I had no idea. I read the article. I read everything. God, Margaret, what have I done? Stuart called. The family attorney says we need to prepare for legal action from multiple parties. This is going to get messy. Grace called. Claire's friends are horrified. Everyone who went to that shower feels terrible. Can we do something? Bring meals? Help somehow? And Vanessa called. Her voice was cold, precise, threatening. You've destroyed my reputation, ruined my marriage, turned everyone against me. You'll pay for this. No, Margaret said calmly. You destroyed yourself. I just held up a mirror so everyone could see what I saw. She hung up. That night, Claire went into labor, real labor. 37 weeks, early but safe. Margaret drove her to the hospital, called Derek, called Dr. Reeves. Labor lasted 6 hours. Painful, difficult. But Claire was strong, stronger than she knew. At 2:33 in the morning, baby Emma Claire Morrison was born. 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Perfect, healthy, beautiful. Claire held her daughter, cried, smiled, exhausted and radiant. She's here, Claire whispered. She's safe. Margaret stood beside them. Her daughter, her granddaughter, 3 generations, all safe, all together. Derek arrived, stood at the doorway, uncertain. Can I come in? He asked. Claire looked at her mother. Margaret nodded. You can meet your daughter, Claire said. But Derek, I need you to understand something. You don't get to be part of her life until you prove you'll protect her. From everything, including your wife. Ex-wife, I filed for divorce yesterday. That's a start. Derek approached slowly, looked at his daughter, tears streamed down his face. I'm sorry, he whispered, to both of you. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, but it's a beginning. 2 weeks after Emma's birth, Margaret sat in Claire's living room. The house was chaos, baby supplies everywhere, dirty bottles, laundry piles, the beautiful mess of new motherhood. Claire walked slowly, still recovering from delivery, but she looked different, stronger. Her eyes had light again. Emma slept in her bassinet, tiny, perfect, making soft baby sounds. Grace is coming over this afternoon, Claire said, and 3 other friends. They were bringing food. Want to help with laundry? Is that okay? Why wouldn't it be okay? I don't know. I got used to being alone. Having people here feels strange. Get used to it again. You have people who love you. Let them help. The doorbell rang. Margaret answered. A delivery person with a large box. For Claire Morrison. Margaret took it, opened it carefully. Inside, baby clothes. Pink and white, soft and beautiful. A note. For Emma, with love from the women who understand. You're not alone. No signature, just women supporting women. The doorbell rang again. More deliveries, meals, gifts, cards, a community rebuilding around Claire. Piece by piece. Derek came by that evening. He'd been coming every other day. Short visits. Supervised. Building trust slowly. Can I hold her? He asked. Claire nodded. Derek lifted Emma carefully. She was so tiny in his arms. He looked at his daughter, then at Claire. Vanessa's attorney contacted me. She wants half of everything in the divorce, including my inheritance. Will you give it to her? No, my attorney found the NDA settlements from her previous marriages. We're using them as evidence of pattern behavior. She won't get anything. Good. Derek rocked Emma gently. I talked to a therapist. She says I was manipulated, that Vanessa used specific tactics. Isolation, love bombing, making me doubt reality, making me doubt you. Does that make it okay? No, it just helps me understand how I let it happen. But understanding doesn't erase what I did or what I allowed to happen to you. Emma started fussing. Derek handed her back to Claire, watched as Claire soothed her daughter with practiced ease. "You're a good mother," Derek said. "I know." The simple confidence in those two words. Claire knew. No doubt, no question. Derek left. Margaret made tea. They sat in comfortable silence. "Mom," Claire said. "Yes?" "I've been thinking about what comes next, after everything settles, after the divorce finishes, after the news cycle moves on. What have you been thinking?" "I want to help other women, women going through what I went through. I want to use my story, create a support group, or a website, something." "That's a wonderful idea. Dr. Reeves said she'd work with me. She has other patients who've experienced similar things. We could create resources, warning signs, ways to document, ways to get help." Margaret looked at her daughter, saw the fire returning, the strength, the purpose. "You're going to be amazing at that. I learned from the best. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. I want to do that for others." 3 weeks after Emma's birth, Trish published a follow-up article. Update: Mistress scandal leads to investigation. Multiple victims come forward. The article detailed consequences. Vanessa's employer had opened an investigation into her professional conduct. 2 previous victims filed civil suits. The hospital ethics board was reviewing the sealed records, and Claire's story inspired others. Women contacted Trish, shared their experiences, created a network of survivors. Comments continued to flood in, but the tone shifted from shock and outrage to support and solidarity. "This happened to me too. I thought I was the only one. Thank you for speaking up. You saved me from making her mistake." Margaret read them all. Hundreds of comments, thousands of shares, the ripple effect of truth. 1 month after Emma's birth, Stuart Morrison invited Margaret to his house. She went alone. Curious, he led her to a study, poured her scotch. Good scotch. Expensive. "I owe you an apology," Stuart said. "For what?" "For not seeing what was happening. For believing Derek. For not protecting Claire and my granddaughter." "You didn't know." "I should have known. I'd pride myself on reading people. Building a business empire requires that skill. But I failed to see what Vanessa was, and I nearly lost my granddaughter because of it." He opened a folder, pulled out papers. "This is a trust fund for Emma. $2 million. For her education, her future, whatever she needs. Claire is the trustee. You're the secondary. Derek has no access." Margaret read the documents. Legal, binding, generous. "This is very generous. It's the least I can do. I failed once. I won't fail again." He pulled out more papers. "And this is a donation to the support group Claire is starting. $50,000 for website development, legal resources, whatever she needs to help other women." Margaret felt tears sting her eyes. "Stuart, this is necessary. That woman nearly destroyed my family. She's destroyed others. If Claire can prevent that from happening to even one more family, this money is well spent. Thank you." "Don't thank me. Thank Claire. She's the brave one. She survived. She's helping others. That takes real strength." 6 weeks after Emma's birth, Claire returned to the doctor for her postpartum checkup. Dr. Reeves examined her, declared her healing well. "How are you doing emotionally?" Dr. Reeves asked. "Better. Some days are hard, but I have support. My mom, my friends, Derek is trying, and I have Emma. She's perfect." "And the nightmares?" Claire paused. "Less frequent. I still dream about Vanessa sometimes, showing up at my door, taking Emma. But then I wake up, and Emma's right there, safe. And I know it was just a dream. That's normal. Trauma doesn't disappear overnight, but it does heal with time and support and purpose." Charisse. "The support group is helping, talking to other women who understand. We're creating resources, documenting patterns, building a database of warning signs." Dr. Reeves smiled. "I'm proud of you, Claire. What you're doing is important work. I learned it from my mom. She showed me what fighting back looks like, not with anger, not with revenge, with truth, with evidence, with action." 2 months after Emma's birth, Derek's divorce was finalized. Vanessa got nothing. The prenuptial agreement held. The evidence of her pattern behavior sealed the decision. She moved out of state, deleted her social media, disappeared from public view. But the damage was done. Her reputation destroyed, her tactics exposed, other victims empowered to speak up. Margaret sat in her garden, the same roses she'd been watering when Claire first called. They'd bloomed again, pink and white, beautiful. Claire visited with Emma. The baby was 2 months old now, alert, curious, perfect. "Look at her," Claire said. "She has your eyes, Mom. She has your strength." They sat in the garden. 3 generations, grandmother, mother, baby, all safe, all healing, all growing. "Do you ever think about her?" Claire asked. "Vanessa, where she is, what she's doing." "Sometimes, but mostly I think about you, about Emma, about all the women you're helping." The support group has 50 members now, from all over the country, women who experience similar things. We share resources, support each other. Some are still in abusive situations. We're helping them document, build cases, get safe. You're doing important work. I had a good teacher. They sat in comfortable silence. Emma cooed, reached for a rose petal. Claire guided her tiny hand gently. "Starting over felt impossible," Claire said softly. "But you were right. Staying felt worse. And now I realize I wasn't starting over. I was just starting, actually starting, as myself, not as Derek's wife, not as someone's victim. Just me." "Who are you now?" Margaret asked. Claire smiled. "I'm Emma's mother. I'm a survivor. I'm a helper. I'm enough." "You always were enough. I know that now." 3 months after Emma's birth, Claire launched the official support website, Recognizing Psychological Abuse in Pregnancy, a resource for mothers. The launch received media attention. Local news covered it. Then national outlets. Claire gave interviews, told her story, helped others recognize the patterns. The website included warning signs, documentation guides, legal resources, medical information, stories from survivors. Within the first week, 5,000 women visited. Within a month, 20,000. Messages flooded in. "Your story saved my pregnancy. I'm documenting everything now because of you. My doctor read your guidelines and identified abuse I didn't recognize. Thank you for speaking up." Claire read every message, responded to as many as she could, built a team of volunteers, survivors helping survivors. Margaret watched her daughter transform, from victim to advocate, from broken to whole, not unchanged, not unmarked, but stronger for the breaking and healing. 4 months after Emma's birth, Vanessa's former employer completed their investigation. They found evidence of professional misconduct, harassment of colleagues' wives, inappropriate relationships with married clients, patterns spanning years. The company released a statement, terminated her employment, rescinded recommendations, severed all connections. More victims came forward. Women from her past, women she'd targeted, women she'd silenced with NDA and threats. The NDA settlements were challenged in court. Judges ruled that NDAs couldn't protect criminal behavior or patterns of abuse. The settlements were voided, the victims could speak, and they did. A class action lawsuit was filed. 10 women, 10 stories, one pattern. Vanessa's attorney tried to fight it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Documentation, medical records, hospital reports, testimonies. The case settled. Vanessa paid damages, public apology, admittance of wrongdoing. But more importantly, the pattern was broken, exposed, prevented from continuing. 5 months after Emma's birth, Claire received a message through the support website from one of Vanessa's previous victims. "Thank you for speaking up. I've lived with shame for 10 years, thinking I was the problem. Thinking I caused my miscarriage because I couldn't handle the stress. Now I know the truth. It wasn't me. It was her. That knowledge gave me my life back." Claire cried reading it, then smiled. This was why she did it. This was why the pain mattered. Because truth set people free. 6 months after Emma's birth, Margaret threw a party, Claire's recovery celebration. Her 30th third birthday, Emma's half birthday, the house filled with people, Grace and her family, Claire's friends, Stuart, Dr. Reeves, Trish, the support group volunteers. Derek came, brought gifts, stayed in the background. He saw Emma regularly now, building a relationship slowly, carefully, earning trust instead of demanding it. Margaret watched her daughter. Claire held Emma, laughed with her friends, glowing, healthy, happy. "You did good," Trish said, appearing beside Margaret. "We all did. No, you started it. You saw the problem, built the case, exposed the truth. Everything else followed from that. I just protected my daughter. You protected all daughters. Look at what you started. The website, the support groups, the legal precedents, the awareness. You changed things." Margaret looked around the room, at the women sharing stories, supporting each other, building community, creating change. "Claire did that. I just held the door open. Someone had to hold it, and you did, ruthlessly, relentlessly, righteously." Margaret smiled. "The world applauded. That's what the news said. Because you gave them something worth applauding, not revenge, not destruction. Truth, justice, protection, change." Emma started fussing. Claire soothed her, rocked her, sang softly. The baby settled, gazed up at her mother with complete trust. "She'll never know how close it came," Trish said, "to losing her mother, to losing everything. Good. She doesn't need to carry that. She just needs to be loved, protected, safe. She has that now, thanks to you. Thanks to all of us." Later that evening, after guests left, Margaret sat with Claire in the garden. Emma slept in her carrier. The evening was warm, peaceful. The roses bloomed. "Mom," Claire said. "Yes?" "I've been thinking about what happened. All of it. The affair, the divorce, Vanessa, the harassment, Emma, everything. And I finally understood something. The prison door was unlocked all along. I'd been my own warden. I stayed not because I couldn't leave, but because I was afraid to admit I'd made a mistake. Afraid to disappoint you, disappoint myself, disappoint some idea of what my life should be." Margaret took her daughter's hand. "The bravest thing I did wasn't leaving Derek. It was asking for help, calling you that day, admitting I couldn't do it alone. That's when I stopped being a prisoner. That's when I became a mother. Not to Emma, to myself. I learned to protect myself the way I protect her, fiercely, without apology." "You did," Margaret said, "and I'm proud of you. People tell me they applaud my strength, but it wasn't strength that saved me. It was admitting I was breaking. That's when everything changed." They sat in silence. Emma stirred, made soft baby sounds, settled again. "What are you going to do next?" Margaret asked. "Keep building, keep helping, keep growing. The support group is expanding. Dr. Reeves wants to develop training for healthcare providers. Grace is helping with the website. Stuart's donation funded legal consultations for women who need them. And Derek? Derek is Emma's father. He's learning, growing, trying to be better. We'll never be married again. But maybe we can be decent co-parents for her. That's wise. I learned from you. You showed me what real strength looks like. Not revenge, not bitterness, just truth, consequences, protection, and moving forward." Margaret looked at her daughter, at her granddaughter, at the life they'd built from the ashes of the old one. "I did what any mother would do." "No, most mothers couldn't do what you did. You had power, knowledge, connections, experience, and you used all of it to protect me. Some women don't have that. That's why the website matters. We're giving them the tools you used. Documentation, resources, knowledge, power. You're giving them hope." "Yes, that too." 9 months after Emma's birth, Claire went back to work, not to her old job, to a new one. Director of Community Outreach for a women's health organization, using her experience, her platform, her voice. She put Emma in daycare 3 days a week. Margaret watched her 2 days. Derek had her one weekend afternoon each week. A village raising a child. The support website continued growing. Regional chapters formed, online support groups, monthly meetups, a network of survivors becoming advocates. Claire spoke at conferences, medical schools, law schools, training sessions for family court judges, sharing her story, teaching recognition, empowering others. 1 year after Emma's birth, they celebrated. Big party, pink and white decorations, Emma's first birthday cake, family and friends. Emma walked now, wobbly toddler steps, fearless, joyful, healthy. Derek came with a gift, a college fund, matching Stuart's trust, trying to be a good father, not a perfect one, but a present one. The party filled with laughter, children playing, adults talking, community thriving. Margaret watched Claire. Her daughter stood in the center of it all, confident, happy, whole. Grace approached. She's come so far. She has. You both have. What you two did, it changed things. The hospital updated their protocols. Family courts revised their guidelines. Women have resources they didn't have before. Real change. That's what Claire wanted, to make the pain mean something. It does. Every woman helped. Every pattern prevented. Every baby protected. It all means something. That evening after the party ended, Claire put Emma to bed, sang her lullabies, kissed her forehead, watched her daughter sleep. Margaret found Claire sitting in the nursery, peaceful, reflective. "What are you thinking?" Margaret asked. "About how different this is from what I imagined. I thought I'd have a husband, a traditional family, a white picket fence life. And instead I have truth, strength, purpose, community, and Emma, and you, and a life I built myself instead of a life someone else built for me. Is it enough?" Claire smiled. "It's better than enough. It's real, messy, complicated, beautiful, real." Margaret sat beside her daughter. They watched Emma sleep. Perfect, peaceful, safe. "You know what nobody tells you about rock bottom?" Claire said softly. "It's not the falling that breaks you. It's lying there afterward, telling yourself you deserve to be down there. I kept thinking I must have done something, failed somehow, been too much or not enough. The prison door was unlocked all along. I was my own warden. When did that change? The day I called you from that bathroom floor. That wasn't my weakest moment. It was my strongest, because I finally admitted I couldn't do it alone. And that's when I stopped being a victim and became a mother. To Emma, to myself, to all the women I help now. What do you tell them, the women who ask how you survived?" Claire thought for a moment. "I tell them that strength isn't about feeling strong. It's about protecting yourself the way you'd protect someone you love, fiercely, without apology, without shame. And they listen? They do, because I'm proof. You don't have to be destroyed by abuse. You can be transformed by survival." Margaret felt tears in her eyes. Pride, love, gratitude. "I'm proud of you," she said. "I'm proud of us. We did this together. You taught me to fight. I'm teaching others. It ripples out. Change ripples out." They sat in comfortable silence. 3 generations in one room, past, present, future, and all connected. 18 months after Emma's birth, Trish won a journalism award for her exposé, national recognition for investigative reporting. She dedicated the award to Claire, for having the courage to tell her story, for turning pain into purpose, for changing the conversation about psychological abuse, for helping countless women find their voices. Claire sat in the audience, applauded, cried, proud. After the ceremony, Trish found her. "We did it. Actual change, new laws, new protocols, new awareness." "You did the work," Claire said. "You gave me the story, but more than that, you gave women a roadmap, from victim to survivor to advocate. That's powerful." "I just shared what happened." "No, you shared what you did about what happened. That's different. That's transformative." 2 years after Emma's birth, the support website celebrated its anniversary. 10,000 registered members, 50 regional chapters, 23 pieces of legislation influenced. Countless women helped. Claire spoke at the anniversary event, told her story, the full story, the affair, the divorce, the harassment, the fear, the breakdown, the help, the recovery, the transformation. When my mother answered my call that day, she didn't just save me. She showed me what protection looks like, what justice looks like. Not revenge, not destruction, truth, evidence, action, consequences. The audience listened, silent, attentive, recognizing themselves in her story. I was ashamed for a long time, ashamed I didn't leave Derek earlier, ashamed I didn't see the signs, ashamed I needed help. But shame is what abusers use to silence victims. So I'm done with shame. I'm not ashamed I was targeted. I'm proud I survived. I'm proud I'm helping others survive. I'm proud of the community we've built. Applause filled the room. Standing ovation. Women crying, supporting, connecting. After the event, a young woman approached Claire, pregnant, maybe 7 months, scared. I think I'm experiencing what you went through. My ex's girlfriend keeps showing up, bringing things, saying things. I thought I was overreacting. You're not overreacting. Trust your instincts. What should I do? Document everything, dates, tamsama, what was said, what was done. Tell your doctor. Build evidence. You're not alone. Thank you. Your story gave me permission to ask for help. That's what it's for. Use it. Protect yourself. Protect your baby. The woman left with resources, phone numbers, websites, support group information, tools. Claire watched her go, felt the weight of responsibility, the privilege of platform, the power of truth. 2.5 years after Emma's birth, Derek remarried. A woman named Jennifer. Kind, genuine, nothing like Vanessa. She worked as a teacher, loved children, respected boundaries. Claire met her before she agreed to let Emma spend time with them together. I understand if you're uncomfortable with me, Jennifer said. I know there's history, hurt. I just want you to know I respect your position as Emma's mother. I'm not trying to replace you. Just support Derek in being a good father. Claire studied her, saw sincerity, no manipulation, no games, just honesty. Thank you for saying that. Emma needs positive influences. If you're good to her and respectful to me, we'll be fine. They built a relationship, cautious at first, then warmer. Co-parenting doesn't require friendship, but it requires respect. They found that. 3 years after Emma's birth, Margaret retired from her consulting work. She'd spent 30 years as a judge, 3 years advising. Now she wanted to focus on family, on her granddaughter, on her garden. Claire threw her a party, celebration of service, of wisdom, of strength. My mother taught me everything I know about justice, Claire said in her speech. Not the kind you read in law books, the kind you build with truth, with evidence, with action. She showed me that protecting someone you love isn't passive, it's active, strategic, relentless. Margaret listened, proud, grateful, moved. When Vanessa targeted me, my mother didn't just comfort me. She built a case, she documented, she investigated, she exposed, she fought, she won. Not just for me, for all the women who came before, all the women who come after. That's real strength. That's real justice, we saw. The room applauded. Margaret stood, hugged her daughter, held her tight. I just did what mothers do, Margaret whispered. You did what exceptional mothers do. You changed the world. 3.5 years after Emma's birth, the lawsuit settlements were finalized. Vanessa paid $2.3 million in damages. The money went to her victims, therapy, medical bills, legal fees, compensation. More importantly, precedent was set. Psychological abuse was recognized legally. Patterns were documented. Systems changed. Claire used part of her settlement to expand the support website, hire staff, develop programs, reach more women. Blood money, she told Margaret. But I'm turning it into something good, something that helps instead of harms. That's transformation, Margaret said, taking what was meant to destroy you and using it to build. 4 years after Emma's birth, Emma started preschool. Confident, bright, loving. She knew she was adopted. She knew her parents weren't together. She knew she was loved, fiercely, by many people. Claire dropped her off the first day, watched her daughter run to the classroom. No fear, no hesitation, just joy. "She's so confident," another mother said. "You must be doing something right." "I'm showing her what strength looks like, not by being perfect, by being honest, by asking for help, by building community, by protecting fiercely, by loving unconditionally." That's beautiful. That's survival. 4.5 years after Emma's birth, Margaret sat in her garden. The roses bloomed, the same roses she'd been watering when Claire first called. That felt like a lifetime ago. Different people, different world. Claire visited with Emma. The little girl ran through the garden, chasing butterflies, laughing. "Do you remember that day?" Claire asked. "When I called you, when everything started, every detail. I was so scared, so broken. I didn't think I'd survive. But you did, because you saved me." "No, I held the door open. You walked through it. You saved yourself. I just showed you the way." Emma ran to them, climbed into Claire's lap. "Mommy, I love you." "I love you too, baby girl." "And Grandma." "And Grandma," Emma confirmed, serious, important. They sat together, 3 generations. Bennett women, fighters, survivors, advocates. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Margaret asked Emma. "Strong like Mommy." Claire hugged her daughter. "You already are, baby, you already are." 5 years after Emma's birth, Claire stood at a podium, National Conference on Maternal Health, 500 people in the audience, doctors, lawyers, social workers, advocates. She told her story, the full story, every painful part, every scared moment, every breakdown, every breakthrough. "5 years ago, I was a victim. My ex-husband's new wife targeted me, systematically, deliberately, with the goal of causing me to miscarry. She nearly succeeded, but my mother saw, my mother acted, my mother fought, and she taught me to fight." The audience listened, attentive, moved, recognizing the importance. "Today, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor, an advocate, a mother, a daughter, a voice for women who are still silent, still scared, still targeted." She clicked to the next slide. Statistics: 10,000 women helped, 50 regional support groups, 23 new laws, hundreds of documented cases, countless lives changed. This is what happens when one person speaks up, when one person demands justice, when one person fights back. Not with violence, not with revenge, with truth, with evidence, with systemic change. The world applauds, not because of vengeance, but because truth won. Standing ovation, tears, recognition, validation. After the speech, Margaret found Claire backstage, hugged her tight. "Your father would be so proud," Margaret said. "I'm so proud. I learned from the best. You showed me what ruthless really means. Not cruel, not vengeful, just unwavering commitment to truth. Unwillingness to back down, refusal to let evil win. That's love," Margaret said. "Ruthless love. Protecting what matters, no matter the bond." "The world applauded," Claire said, "just like the story promised. Not because we destroyed Vanessa, but because we exposed her, protected others, changed systems, built something better from the ashes." That's real victory. That evening they went home, to Claire's house, the house she'd almost lost, the house that was now truly hers, filled with Emma's toys, her laughter, their life. They sat in the backyard. Emma played. Margaret and Claire watched. Comfortable silence. "Do you ever think about her?" Claire asked. "Wonder where she is?" "Sometimes, but less and less. She's not our story anymore. She was a chapter, a dark one, but not the whole book." "What's the whole book?" "Survival, strength, transformation, community, love, justice. Those are our chapters now. Those are the ones that matter." Emma ran to them. "Mommy, watch me." She did a cartwheel, clumsy, enthusiastic, perfect. They applauded. Emma beamed, proud. She doesn't know, Claire said softly. She doesn't know how close it came, how hard we fought, how much we risked. Good. Let her just know love, safety, strength, community. Those are the lessons that matter. The sun set, pink and gold, beautiful. Emma played. Claire relaxed. Margaret breathed deeply. Peace, this was the ending. Not perfect, not fairy tale, but real, true, earned. The mother protected her daughter. The daughter became a protector. The granddaughter grew up safe. The community expanded. The system changed. The truth won, and the world applauded. Not for revenge, but for justice, for truth, for transformation, for the ruthless, relentless, righteous protection of those who couldn't protect themselves. That was the story. That was always the story. Not about destruction, about building, not about vengeance, about justice, not about hate, about fierce, protective, transformative love, the kind of love that changes everything. 5 years later, Emma is thriving. Claire helps thousands of women recognize abuse. And Margaret proved that sometimes the most ruthless thing you can do is simply tell the truth. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt powerless watching someone you love suffer, or if you believe that truth deserves a platform, I have a small request. Hit that like button. Not for me, for every woman still living this story. Your like pushes this video to someone who might need to hear it today. Drop a comment. Share your thoughts. Have you seen this pattern? Do you know someone who needs resources? Your words create community. Community creates change. Subscribe to this channel. We tell stories that matter. Stories about survival, strength, justice, and transformation. Stories where truth wins. And share everyone this video. You never know whose life might change because you click that share button. Margaret didn't stay silent. Claire didn't stay silent. And neither should you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And thank you for being part of the community that says enough is enough. See you in the next story. Until then, protect fiercely, love relentlessly, and never underestimate the power of a mother's love.